Hello everybody, Saudi here. How's everybody doing? Hey Barbarian Kitten! Welcome, welcome, welcome. Excited to play this game, Our Life Beginning and Always. It's a visual novel romance game. Hi. You doing good? You doing good? Yes, it's like a visual novel romance game that I've heard is amazing. It's free to play. At least the base part of it is. So we're gonna try it out. I don't know where I'm supposed to click. Oh, okay. Just click the thing. Okay. Alright. Okay. Also, I have lots of candy, so if you hear me munching, I'm chewing on my candy, cookies, cookie dough, bottle pop, drinking my soda. So, yeah. Okay. 4 time periods called steps: childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, and adulthood. Okay. Vignettes that take place during specific periods of time. These are called moments. Okay. Moments can be played in any order or skipped entirely. You move on to the next step whenever you want by selecting that summer is ending. Steps 1 to 3 include 5 moments each, and even more can be unlocked by purchasing DLC. Some are out now and other DLCs will release later on. Step 4 is an epilogue and doesn't include moments. Okay, alright, cool. Let's see. Share? No, you can't have my candy. It's mine. It's mine. Can't have it. And that happens over the years that go by, especially in regard to the character you play as. You determine nearly everything about the main character: name, appearance, personality, pronouns, interests, skills, their relationship with major characters, and so on. You can decide to change the details as time goes on, with a few exceptions. Your last name, skin tone, and eye color can't be altered when set. Much of the MC's basic traits are determined on a character creation screen. As the MC grows up, more options become available on the screen. You're fine. Get your own. Selecting a name. You can type it in here. You can pick a preset name. Name will be voiced aloud by the romantic lead. You get to hear him say your name as you play through the story. That's cute. It's included in the base game. Hundreds more can be added by getting a free voice name. I tried to download that, but I don't think I did it correctly. Either way, I don't think Saudi was on there, so... Oh, that's cute. Let's see. So you can decorate different traits put together. Cute. Will appear in the dollar script representing what you decided for the main way those did. Okay. Alright, if it's the first person, so your character doesn't appear next to other character. You only see the MC as decorative doll and in special cut-in CG images. Okay, alright. The interest comfort screen. Unless you get DLCs, the game has one love interest, Cove Holden. He grows up with the MC, and the interest/comfort screen is crucial for determining how that plays out. Interest level sets how much you like him. There are 4 levels: disinterest, fawn, crush, and love. Hey Nukin, how's it going? It was only available starting in step 3, and if you were at fond or crush in step 2. Okay. Comfort determines how you generally react, think when it comes to him. There are 3 levels: nervous, relaxed, and direct. Your level of interest and comfort will set the type of dynamic your character has with the love interest. What you did in the past will influence the present, and feelings can change over time. How's your tum-tum doing, Nukin? I know you were having trouble with your tum-tum. You get to pick your interest, comfort near the beginning of every step. Comfort can... Yeah. A little reading, it's fine. Your interest level can only stay the same or increase. Okay. New lowest option on the screen in the future. For example, if you decide to be fawn in step 1, this interest will not be available on the screens in step 2 and 3, which will make fawn the bottom level option. Got it. It's a visual novel romance game where you go from childhood to adulthood with this one love interest, and it's very customizable to however you wanna approach the game and things like that. Okay. 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 Hey Lupin, how's it going? Hi, 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 hi. Oh my god, so much reading. The game for You can always choose not to get together, choose not to accept a game. You could not break up with him. Bad headache, because oh no. You got this, Lupin. Just get lots of rest. Very based on what happened in the previous step. And that's something of a mystery exactly how your decisions end up changing him. You can try to guess as you go along. And design your own ideal code directly using the code creator option. No. Making the choices you want is always more important than making a choice because you feel like you have to in order to get a certain result. When a choice does it, you'll see that hovering the close from ashes saying yellow, blue, or green. When related to a specific point, they're only there to give a bit of insight on the tone and motion of your choice. It can potentially be read in more than one way. It tends to be casual, straightforward. Oh no. You're okay. I'm sure you've done everything you can to get the best grade possible. Don't worry. I hope you get to rest soon. So blue, more casual, yellow, more emotive, reactive, and then green, less certain or uncommitted. And I've met every choice many falls in line with that pattern. Green doesn't. No bad ending. That's nice. Play the random trip to sword without reservation, and then if you like, you can play again to try something new. There's only ever more good content to discover. Oh, bright. Okay. Ah! Cute! Alright, let's see. I like that one. Chubby! Chubby! Skin tone. Peachy. Cute. What eye shape? I think the big round. I have green eyes. Green, like that. Hair, let's see. Choppy, curled, flowy, short, medium, smooth, choppy 2, long, locks, side, parted, triangle, parted 2, wavy, blunt, side, spiked, that's cute, wavy 2, short 2, eye cut, oh boy, sideburns, strands, bowl cut, braids, scrappy, braid front, flowy 2, blunt 2, strands 2. I think that's cute. Maybe that one? I don't know if any of these really quite match me. No, not two-tone. Oh boy. So many two-tones. Oh, that's kind of cool though. No, none. None. Buns, that's cute though. No, none. Okay. Green? Where's green? Green. More or less? Can't see it, but it's gonna be green. Name, she. And Saudi. What do I want to have the last name? Dino. Saudi Dino. Dino. No. Okay. Oh boy. Can't see that one. No. Hey, cute. Freckles. Cute little freckles, adorable. Hand size. Chubby. Glasses. Yes. The freckles kind of look... We'll do the rosy cheeks. I mean, those are cute. Yes. Yes. What's next? Oh my goodness, so many options. No. Scar in the leg, sure. Dresses. Necklace. That's good. Alright. Done. Summer in Sunset Bird was a special time of year. Your usually sleepy town began to bustle. It's a popular tourist destination with people coming from all over to enjoy the beach, the weather, and the relaxation that came with both. The smell of the ocean, crisp and salty, hung in the air, bringing 3 whole months of schoolless vacation with it. During the summer, your moms didn't like you to wander too far outside of your neighborhood, so you knew the area pretty well. That included the people. Families came and went from Sunset Bird, but they mostly stayed and did what your mom called putting down roots. They built businesses, they got to know each other, and they definitely said hello to the nice young kids who waved when passing their stores. Going for a walk around town mostly meant that the familiar, friendly residents waved or asked how your family was, or most often just said hello. Didn't really get why they always had to say hi. They saw you every day, but you nodded back at them. A lot of different people, since most of the tourists that came and went every summer were the same ones. Say hey back, and most of the other ethnic greeted, but they all knew you well enough to expect that. Choices. Yeah, sure. We enjoyed learning all about where they were visiting from and hoped to visit those places one day too. But today there was a man sitting on the curb outside your house. He was sitting with his head in his hands, his whole body slumped over. Oh no. What did I do? His whole body slumped, and you wondered if he was even a real person or a statue that had magically sprung up from the ground overnight. Whatever he was, you had never seen him before. One thing about knowing everyone in Sunset Bird was that people who you didn't recognize really stood out. It was rare for tourists to venture into the residential district, as your moms called it. So for you, not knowing who a total stranger was set off a lot of red flags. Your mom's had a talk with you and your big sister Lizzie about this kind of situation before. You mentioned that some people aren't good to talk to, but other types of people can help you even if you don't know them. Remember that it's okay to run away if you feel uncomfortable. You don't have to worry about being polite then. Yeah, I'm sure about this man yet. So you felt been knowing that he was blocking on you. So you were a bit scared. Yeah, that's scary. That's scary. You slowed down, your mind racing for ideas on how to get past him unseen, but it was too late to escape. There was a split second where your eyes met and you took in a shaky breath, your eyes darting to the sky, pretending to stare at a bird who was hovering nearby. Hey! His voice startled you and made you jump, but still you didn't look at him. The bird landed on top of a nearby gatepost and his black feathers... Whoops, I keep right-clicking. Black feathers ruffled against the gentle breeze. Trying to keep your eyes on it was tough, especially when the man stood up and started to make his way towards you. Not wanting to seem too brave, you folded your arms. Man gives a grin of his own back. He cute. He cute. I'm a child, but he cute. What's your name? He looked at the man up and down, taking in his tan skin and relaxed appearance. At least his clothes were relaxed, the way he was acting was it. He had sharks on his shorts and a stingray tattoo, and you wondered if he was obsessed with the ocean or something. When you made your assessment, he looked at you expectantly, waiting for an answer to his question. Yeah, I live here. That's great. He looked happy to hear it, giving you a broad smile. Suspicious. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a clean $20 bill. He crinkled his hand as he held it up to you, even more confused than before you looked back at him. Well, could you do me a favor? Nothing bad. Sorry, I should have... Let me start over. He cleared his throat and stood up straighter. From where you were standing, you just made him look creepier. I have a son. His name is Cove. He's about your age. Cove, that seemed like a strange name for an actual living person to you. Inside of it, this guy was definitely obsessed and thought it was pretty cool. He was on like that in Sunset Bird. Cove's dad. We moved in across the street, see? He gestured toward the house that had been empty for a year, his watch catching the late afternoon sunlight and reflecting off the walls. The gigantic for sale sign was finally gone. You must be Saudi Dino, right? Yeah, that's me. I met your moms earlier, and they told me you were 8, just like him, so he shook the $20 bill to bring it back to your attention, a hopeful smile tilting his lips at the corners. Can you try to be friends with the boy? Just give it a chance and you can keep this. He's a good kid, you'll like him. But you've got to keep it a secret too, okay? It wouldn't be friendly to say his dad sent you. You kind of felt sorry for this. Definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that. What do you say? Want to make a deal? Took the bill. I'll take the $20. You carefully plucked the bill from his outstretched hand, grinning at the thoughts of what you could do with that much cash. All the sweets you could ever buy. You could buy a ticket from the newest movie. Cute stuffed animal you had seen. It cost a few dollars, so since you could pay for yourself instead of having your moms do it. You weren't even sure yet. All the sweets you could ever want. Tommy rumbled, thinking about it. And that was just a start. You thought the sky was the limit with that kind of amount. The man smiled at you, his eyes crinkling at the sides as he did. Great, that's great. I'll bring him by tomorrow. I wanted him to meet and greet with the neighbors today, but well, I don't know where he's gotten off to. He laughed when he said that, but with the way his face looked, you thought he actually wanted to cry. If you see him, can you tell him to come on home? He's got a pink cast and glasses. You can't miss it. Okay. Definitely wasn't the normal way kids made friends. You knew that, but you were still going to help. Smiling reached out to pat you in the head, paused before doing so, then pulled his hand away instead. Your moms are already checking around for me. Such a thoughtful group you are. Now I better go look too. Can't put everyone else to work while I keep sitting here. I thought he might come back and that's not what's important. I have to go. Thanks again, Saudi, so much. Cute! He jogged off down the street without another word. Check the hills behind your house. Step 1. First sight. The chirping of crickets in the tall grass greeted you, quiet and familiar. From the top of the hill you could see the ocean. As you walked, you listened to the crash of the waves on the shore and the seagulls squawking as they settled down for the night. Always loved. Sometimes Lucy would join you, the two of you splashing each other in the waves. Those were the best days. You took in a deep breath. You wanted to try to relax and couldn't. You weren't sure what, but something told you that you weren't alone, so you glanced around. Aww. There's a boy sitting at the top of one hill, almost completely hidden within the long grass and white flowers surrounding him. His head was buried in his knees, staring ahead up by himself. For whatever reason, probably just that he wasn't paying attention, he hadn't noticed you yet. You watched him a minute longer, feeling a little bit like you'd found a deer in the wild, though deer didn't have pink cast. But this new boy did. You wondered how he got it. After a few more seconds, you took a step forward, then another, and then he glanced your way. His aquamarine eyes reflected the light of the moon. You stopped, raising a hand to acknowledge him and show you weren't scary. Hi. With a start, he jumped up to his feet, his hands balling into fists at his side. He didn't say anything, just stared at you in a strange way. Oh, he looks so sad. He'd been crying. There were traces of tears on his cheeks and his knees, soaking the hem of his shorts, and his eyes were still shining with a few more. You'd obviously caught him off guard. His pink cast seemed to glow in the twilight, though when he caught you staring at it, he hid his arm behind his back. Something the man earlier had said stuck out to you. Cove? Ah, eyes wide, he studied you. How'd you know that? You touched the money in your pocket, feeling it crinkle beneath your fingertips. I met your dad. So is this your hill? He gestured with his uninjured arm to the patch of grass surrounding you, his face falling at the prospect. I can leave if it is. Shake your head. While doing so, you also picked out a strand of lint and you're like, what a weird question to ask someone. Oh. He sat back down with a thump, resting his chin on his knees again. Curious about the strange new boy with the odd dad, you sat on the patch of grass next to him. The pure white flowers that covered this hill rocked back and forth gently as the stars twinkled above. The way they dotted the sky made them seem like flowers too. The night wind was cool as it traveled over the ocean and up the hill, chasing away the heat from the afternoon sun. Why are you here? A quiet hiccup escaped Cove as soon as you asked the question, almost like they'd never stopped. His tears started up again with a vengeance. My parents, they don't want to live together with me anymore. The tears fell fast and heavy over his flushed cheeks, sticking in his dark lashes. My mom made my dad leave and he took me with him, and now we have a house here and I want to go home. The outburst took you off guard. By the time he was done wailing, Cove's chest was heaving with exhaustion. He sniffled and removed his glasses, wiping at his eyes with the back of his hand before he put them back on again. I hate this place. I want my real life back. I want my mom. Oh. I'm sorry. He slipped his hands underneath his glasses and pressed his fingers against his eyelids. Cove wound himself up again for another long crying fit. You felt bad for him being forced to come here with no choice. You couldn't imagine what it would feel like to live with only one of your moms, but it must be pretty hard. But from way off in the distance you heard your parents. Saudi! Cove? Kids, where did you go? Cove looked at you, tears still clinging to his cheeks. Don't tell them we're here. I don't want to go back to that house. I want to go home. It'll be okay. You were struck by a sudden need to reassure Cove. It's not gonna be all be fun, but isn't he your family too? Yeah, I guess. And you can count on him when you really, really need him. You shot him a grin and pushed yourself to your feet. Slowly, Cove stood up with you, still looking a little reluctant. His dad's voice rang out again. Cove, can you hear me? He looked toward the sound of his dad's voice, silent, then turned away while rubbing his bandaged arm. I still don't want to go. Yeah, I get it. You do? Before you could answer, you heard Cove's dad even closer than before. There you are, bud. The trio of parents appeared over the curve of the hill. Instantly, all their eyes landed on you and they rushed over. My moms! Both of your moms were at your side in a split second, faces filled with worry. My moms are hot. They're pretty hot. Saudi, you're here after all. We had been at the park to check for Cove, and then he heard what happened earlier when you met the new neighbor. I thought you might have gone off further away. We're okay, don't worry. Thank God you're both fine. Are you two having fun out here? You looked at who was wiggling against his dad's tight hug and pushing at his arms. He's good. I think I'm gonna marry him. Yes, I like him. You nodded, smiling slightly. Finally letting go of his squirming, scowling son, Cove's dad turned to the three of you. Thanks very much for finding him. I really don't know this neighborhood. Good thing Saudi knows the whole area so well. Absolutely. We should be getting home now. It's been a long day for us all. Say goodbye, Cove. Bye. Aww. The two of them walked off into the darkness, heading toward the neighborhood. You watched Cove's bright pink cast until it disappeared. Tell you what, we'll have a proper play date tomorrow, okay? Your new friend's dad wanted to bring him by to see you and Lizzie. How does that sound? Sure, can I show him my stuff? No, cute. Then okay. Both of your moms laughed, the sounds overlapping into a warm, familiar chorus. Mommy put her arm around your shoulder and led you towards the path. This is so cute! Satisfied and more than a little ready to go to bed after your long, exciting day, you followed them home. Ooh, time to choose my feelings. That's how you feel towards Cove for this epic and change in later steps. Fond or crush? Definitely not indifferent. I think either fond or crush. Hmm. I think we're going straight to crush. I'm feeling relaxed. Going all in here. Won't be able to change it again until step 2. Yes. The next morning you finished your breakfast so fast that you practically inhaled it. Your sister Lizzie had run out earlier to go play, but you'd stayed put. Today, just like your moms had promised, Cove was coming over to hang out. Yay! Hi, Hot Moms. Excited to see your new friend again, Saudi? A cheap and a lot, childlike affection. Cool. Yes! Yeah, a lot. Achievement unlocked. Relaxed. Cool.
How sweet.
Isn't that just the sweetest thing? I bet the two of them are going to be great playmates.
Okay.
With that said, are you done with your breakfast? Yeah.
Okay.
Good job. He should be here soon. Clean up again, and then on cue there was a knock. It was hesitant, like the person wasn't sure they were in the right place. Still loud, though. We need to get a more obvious doorbell. I know. Saudi, could you get it? Practically leapt out of your chair on the way to the door. Hey, Dino Family. Thanks, Dino Family. So cute. Thanks for having us. Mr. Holden, as your moms have called him, and his son were here. Cove looked different in the bright lighting of your living room and when he wasn't crying. With his dad standing in front of him and Mom and Mommy behind you, you and Cove looked at each other. Pleased to see the interesting new boy again, you smiled at Cove. Cove returned it shyly. Let's go play in my room. Okay.
Take care.
Let us know if you need anything, you two. Have fun, kids.
See you.
You led him to your room, puffing out your chest a little bit at the sight of your treasures. There were lots of stuffed animals, a cool bed, a window to look out. It was a great room. You hadn't had anyone to show it to in a while, but you were really proud of it. You leaned in a little closer to one of your drawings on the wall. I like this. Ugh. I drew that. Cool. You smiled at him. You were proud of that particular piece of art, and you were glad he noticed it. You turned to look around the room a little more, studying the books on your desk and the pictures on the walls. You hoped he liked your room. You'd put a lot of effort into making your room as nice as it was. You hope he didn't say anything bad about it. Then his eyes landed on the tiny box of beach things he collected, tucked away by your door. He took a step towards it before hesitating and pointing at it instead. What's that? A hoard of stuff I found on the beach.
Oh.
Do you have any driftwood in there? Dragging the box into the middle of the room, you and Cove flopped down next to it. Let's see. I think so. Yeah, see? You gestured to a piece at the bottom still covered with specks of sand. Neat, this is a good collection. You got the sense from the tone of his voice that he wasn't just saying it to be nice or to be like Shiloh, he actually meant it. Alright, I almost forgot, Shiloh's gonna be here today. Shiloh? Lizzie's friend, or like her #1 fan, I guess. Do I have to see him? It should be okay, I mean he's Lizzie's friend, not mine, but you know. Come on, check out my shells some more. I found this one under a big piece of seaweed that had washed ashore, and you pulled out seashell after seashell, explaining where you'd gotten each one and holding them up against the light. There were big ones, small ones, pink, purple, and orange. Most of them you washed off in the bathroom sink when you brought them home, cleaning off the sand. The Panyard. Affection was so varied that you had lots of funny stories to tell for all of them. Apparently fascinated by the stories over the shells themselves, Cove listened with what looked like the full force of his attention. Like when you almost got pinched by a hermit crab while searching for shells, and after watching him scuttle back into the ocean you found another empty shell that was almost a twin to his home. It was a new experience to be the center of such dedicated focus. For some reason it was making your cheeks feel warm. You had never felt like this around someone before. It was kind of weird. Kids, come down to the living room. You could tell the idea was making him unhappy, but Mommy wasn't giving you much of a chance to hang around. Cove hadn't been like this meeting you. You guessed it was because he thinks you found each other by accident, not that a parent made it happen. Mr. Holden must be right that telling Cove his dad was part of that would be a bad idea. Before you knew it, you both been escorted downstairs and deposited in the living room, ready for Shiloh's visit. The two of you sat side by side on the floor of your home's entryway. I brought the box of shells. I want to keep looking at them. Oh, so cute. Great. Bust it open. We can keep looking while we wait for Shiloh. Cove reached in and pulled out silly me, and pulled out a big orange shell. Oh, looks like he hadn't spoken aloud, and he turned to you and held it up, his eyes shining. I think this one is the best of them. You take it. Cove looked at you in surprise, his eyes going wide. Really? Sure, you like it a lot, right? Uh-huh, but I don't want to take it from you, it's okay. If he was hesitant to accept something because he didn't know you very well. He insisted. No, it's okay, it's for you. Pushed the shell against Cove's ship, wanting him to receive the present, but Cove firmly shook his head and kept his arms tightly at his sides. It's a battle you couldn't win, at least not today. Cove was your neighbor now. Maybe you could give it to him another time. The two of you were still sitting on the floor looking through your collection of beach findings when the doorbell finally rang. Cove jumped, startled by the sound. Since the person had a knock you figured was probably Shiloh, he knew where to look for that. Lizzie's friend? He nodded, but that didn't seem to make Cove feel better. It's already obvious that Cove didn't hide his feeling wells, but you could tell that he was thinking right away. This isn't a good idea. He'll be alright, he's here, we can't tell him to leave. He's at our only door, and if you go upstairs, he'll find you. Cove glanced around the room, his eyes wide, and finally paused with his gaze locked into the back of the house. I can go out the window. He was already walking towards it. Scrambling to think of something to say, you stepped forward, then paused. I'll come with you. Hurry, they'll see where we're going. He glanced back at you, then nodded. The two of you made your way to the window together. It wasn't much of a distance to clamber out, but by the time you landed gently in the bushes, you looked up to see that Cove was already taking off away from the house. He was fast, but you knew you could outrun him if you had to. Cove! You ran as fast as your legs would take you, grass whipping around your ankles as you did so. Slowed to a halt and looked back at you. Where are you going? I don't know, somewhere else. I just don't want to see. Saudi! You looked back and saw Shiloh huffing down the hill after you, the backpack he clutched bouncing all around along the way. What are you doing? Can I come? He must have seen you leaving out the window and followed behind.
Hi.
Oh, Shiloh's cute. Oh, hi, are you Cove? Yeah, I'm Shiloh. Okay. Yep, are we going back or are we gonna play outside? Shiloh's eyes moved between you and Cove and the smile remained strong on his face. Got a tiny frown from Cove in response. You were just grateful he hadn't asked why you had been running away. Inside, we left the box on the floor. Hey, Poulter. We're just children right now, but we'll see what happens when he gets older. Inside, we left the box on the floor. Right, my shells and stuff. We have to make sure they're okay. Turning behind you and Cove headed back toward the house. But hello, Poulter. How you doing? I saw you're coming back again soon. You're gonna be streaming again soon. The plan for the afternoon, at least as far as you were concerned, was to sit and look at the beach thing some more. Your ghostly heart is broken. No! No! Sunday! Yay! Much excites. Maybe soon we can play some more, It Takes Two. I'm gonna munch on my cookie, I'm sorry. We weren't really in the mood to do much of anything else, especially if Cove was having fun. It's a pretty color, kind of like my cast. Pink is a nice color. Okay. Is it your favorite? Not really. What is? Maybe green or blue, might be yellow. Oh, those are all cool. I guess. Kind of cookie? It's a Milano double dark chocolate Pepperidge Farm cookie. It's yummy. I ordered a bunch of snacks on Uber Eats. Mine too, Poulter. I love purple. Purple's my favorite. You'd think I have more purple on me, but but purple's my favorite. Yeah, purple gang. Not sure how to do with the suddenly more awkward sign as you look back at your shells. Like usual, it didn't take long for Shiloh to get fidgety. Lizzie was his favorite. Without her around, Shiloh didn't seem to know what to do with himself. And Cove wasn't like your sister. He wasn't that much like you either. Is Lizzie coming back? Don't know. Where'd she go? I think she's at the beach, probably. Is she playing at our park? Cove's eyes lit up at the mention of the park and he looked towards you. There's a park? Yep, but it's old. Can you show me? I want to go. He started getting up before you had even answered and Shiloh jumped up beside him in excitement. Yeah. Maybe I can get a little cute purple dress. A cute purple dress. Would be nice. Really? You do too? Right, Sadie? The park is fun. Park is pretty great. It's right at the beach, so there's lots of fun stuff to do. And lots of sand. There's a jungle gym and a bunch of swings. That sounds like it could be cool. So are we going to find Lizzie? I don't know, I never really wanted to see her. I just want to check the park out. Damn, Cove. You doing alright, buddy? Adrift without any direction, Shiloh finally turned to you. Okay. He perked up. Both boys wanted to go. It was only fair. After getting permission from your moms, the three of you were ready to head out. It was a short walk to the park. Lizzie had convinced your moms that it was so short she would always be allowed to walk there by herself. When you found her, she was hanging onto the jungle gym, swinging back and forth. Hey, Lizzie! Her face lit up when she saw you, her big brown eyes going wide. Saudi, Shiloh! Hi! She dropped to the ground and landed with a soft thud in the sand. In a split second, Shiloh had abandoned you two and scrambled over to stand by her. You were used to being left out when it was just the three of you, but now Cove was here. It was nice to have someone who stuck with you. Oh, Lizzie's adorable. Can you be evil in this game? No. I mean, you can be like aloof and stuff, but not evil. It's a very wholesome game. There's no bad ending. So, yeah. Basically, you don't end up, because Cove is the only love interest in the base game. Is this little boy. As we grow up, we're gonna go through childhood, adolescence, young adulthood, and adulthood. And I don't have to, like, you know, I could be aloof and not really care for him, but that's about it. It's Cove. He's new.
Hi.
I remember. Hi, Cove. Welcome to my park. Nobody ever comes to play here, so this is where we get together. She gestured wildly with her arms. Oh. Love being evil? Yeah, same. Same. Blend the area to the newcomer. When Lizzie continued talking, you took the chance to kick off your shoes and wriggle your toes through the warm sand. Nice, huh? In this neighborhood, I'm the one who comes up with the ideas. You are?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I am. Who else could handle the job? Lizzie's the oldest. Shiloh loves her so much. So cute. By a lot. My mom said you're Saudi's age. Yeah. Thought so. I'm still the only one in this group with double digits. Little one. She's so silly. Oh my goodness. What about other kids? Other kids? There aren't any. We're the only kids here and Shiloh's just visiting from another place. Not even tourists really bring their kids here. This is the land of ancients. Be careful that the oldies don't try to steal your youth. What the heck? For a second it looked like he might cry again, but something in his eyes shifted and he looked back at Lizzie. What kind of old people? Like moms and dads or grandparents? Grandparents who don't have kids. They hate kids. Why? We haven't done anything. Only some of them don't like kids. You interjected quickly, hoping Lizzie wouldn't take things too far. Cove sniffled, his forehead creasing with worry. Lizzie was staring Cove down, but Cove wasn't even looking at her anymore. He didn't seem to care that she was there. He went into his own head. Shiloh was the next one to speak, completely unaware of the situation. I met Lizzie and Saudi in school. You'll see tons of kids there once summer is over. I don't want to go to a new school. I don't want summer to end. Shiloh looked down to the dirt. He hasn't had much luck striking up conversation with Cove. Oh, I like summer vacation a lot too. All the building tension there suddenly vanished when Lizzie laughed. At Shiloh's discomfort at how weird she thought Cove was at something else entirely, he didn't really know, but she laughed, face scrunching up.
Okay.
Welcome to Sunset Bird Cove. Take a seat, put up your feet, and get used to it. You offered him a small smile, and that at least looked to reassure him some. Cute! For the rest of summer, Cove was always there. You saw him more often than Shiloh, and on some days when she was in a bad mood or busy, you even saw him more than Lizzie. He became a staple of your everyday life, the way sun and lunch and the beach were. Looking back on it years later, you would realize that you'd had a tiny crush on him right away. One that had made you want to spend as much time with him as you did. Of course, that was only the start of things. Cute. Ooh. Let's see. What do we got? So come back before it gets dark, alright, sport? A familiar voice drifted across the street and drew your attention away from the snail you'd been watching inch slowly across the pavement. Cove waited in front of his dad, pushing his green hair back off his face from where the breeze was blowing it over his glasses. Sorry, my mouth is full. He looked to be paying only a mild amount of attention as he was being handed a few slips of green paper. It reminded you of when you'd first met Mr. Holden, although he's probably not paying Cove to be friends with himself. Cove's dad seemed to fear your gaze somehow, or maybe you made a noise, because a second later his eyes were on you. He waved you over with a smile. He looked happy to see you, but you still felt a little weird for getting caught. You've got to learn how to be more sneaky. You brushed your hands together to free them of sand and then jogged over to join the two, smiling at Cove first and then his dad. In turn, Cove shuffled his feet in place as you got closer. Saudi, hi.
How's it going?
Good to see you again. What excitement are you up to today, Saudi? Taking a walk. Found a pretty cool snail across the road. There's lots of snails around here. Mr. Holden grinned at you keenly. Till you finished answering the question, Mr. Holden's attention returned to Cove, who was preoccupied with folding the bills he had into a tiny rectangle. Sounds fun, you know. Cove was about to hit the stores by the beach. Why don't you go with him?
Yeah.
You can come. Aw, thanks, Cove. You merely grinned at the idea. You hadn't been sure if you'd see Cove today, and now he was inviting you somewhere. This day couldn't get much better. Great, I'm sure you guys will have loads of fun. Mr. Holden reached into his pocket and pulled out a leather wallet filled with money. You found it odd, since your mom's only ever seemed to have cards in theirs. Here, he leaned in to pass a crisp hand to Cove, giving him a wink and a whisper. Oh, that's so cute. Get something for your friend, too. Sure. That's my boy. Cove's dad ruffled his son's hair as he was straightening back up, the bill in his hand still held out towards the green-haired boy. Take care. Cove accepted the bill after a second and slipped it into his pocket. Then, with one last nod to his dad, he turned and started walking. You followed after him, intrigued at the possibilities this outing might bring. Adorable. Jump, jump. Cove strayed towards the gentle tide creeping up the sand, and you fell into place beside him. It was a nice day. The sun was shining and there weren't many clouds in the sky, though the wind coming off the ocean kept it from being too hot. You took in a deep breath, enjoying the scent of salt and ocean air. When you looked up Cove, he was dragging his feet through the sand a little, and you slowed down to wait for him. His eyes searched the ground intently. You looking for shells? Whispered a little sound of your voice and mumbled, sort of. If you see any, you can let me know. You could manage that. You dropped your view to the sand, walking carefully so you didn't step on any. You were good at finding shells. You had a lot of them at home and always found new ones whenever you visited the beach. The comforting sound of the waves filled the silence with pleasant white noise, and you played a little game with yourself as you walked along, getting as close to the water as possible without getting wet. It resulted in you having to run up the sand quickly when a wave rushed in more than a few times, and although Cove threw a few glances your way, he didn't say a word. You didn't either. Give him time. He seemed altogether too invested in the floor to pay attention. You decided to watch the waves as they inched closer and closer to your feet instead. Oh. Abruptly, Cove stopped, then moved briskly ahead a few steps. What is it? Without a word, he bent down, picking something up, half buried in the sand. You hurried nearer, curiously glancing over his shoulder. It was a shell, lightly pink at the bottom and bleached white at the top. Wow, so you found what you were looking for. Cove got back up, turning his find over in his hands before unbuttoning one of the many pockets on his pants and sliding it inside. I pick up anything that's kinda cool. This is what I got this time.
So,
What do you do out here? Building sandcastles. Last summer, Lizzie and I built one that was as tall as me. Sometimes they have sandcastle building competitions down by the boardwalk. Cool, I bet you could win. You smiled at Cove. Maybe the two of you would build one together one day. Once you reached the shopping area, the noise level grew exponentially. No longer just waves and footsteps, but the chatter of people enjoying the lovely summer day, the call of birds trying to find bits of food left behind, and lots of salespeople trying to get attention. You sniffed the air as you walked beside Cove. You could still smell the ocean, but there were other scents now too. Pizza, pretzels, hot donuts. It's nice. The energy surrounding the area seemed to fill you, and there was a bounce in your step as you began looking at all the familiar sights. There were so many things to do you didn't know where to begin. You looked at Cove, hoping he was just as excited as you were. Cove was glancing from one side of the street to the other with a look in his aquamarine eyes that you couldn't quite work out. What's that? Cove pointed out to a large crowd of people gathered near a few tables with large colorful umbrellas blooming from their middles. You couldn't see past the adults who were blocking the way, but you knew there must be something worth seeing. Without another word, the two of you hurried over to see what all the commotion was about. Amazing Alexander. Feast your eyes on the amazing Alexander. In the center of the crowd was a man with a tall hat and a funny green coat that had 3 long tails. There was a little table next to him with a cloth hanging over it that read the Amazing Alexander in glittery golden script. Why tell people his name if it's already on a sign? You're so silly. Cove hummed with understanding, then turned to walk away just as the Amazing Alexander began shuffling a deck of cards. Maybe we could stay and watch? Cove glanced back at the man. He then briefly lifted his arms up off his sides before returning them to place. Like a shrug? You grinned, waving for him to follow you as soon as you raced back to stand in the crowd. With that it began. The magic man pulled one card out of the deck, showing it to the curious onlookers. It was a 4 of diamonds. Watch closely. You did, squeezing through a few of the adult onlookers to get a better view. Suddenly the man snapped his fingers and the card just disappeared. Whoa! The Amazing Alexander, who had earned his title, turned his head and looked directly at you. He reached out with a kind smile. What's this behind your ear? Nothing? It was true, you didn't keep anything there. He smelled like popcorn and candy when he stepped closer, and you wrinkled your nose in confusion as you watched him. You felt a tug, and then he pulled the 4 of diamonds out from behind your ear. What? You knew that it couldn't really have come from your ear, but you still didn't get how he'd done it. There was light applause from the crowd, and the man gave a deep bow. This is for you. The magician plucked a pair of balloons from a clump of them tied down to his table. Both were in the shape of a dolphin instead of being a normal circle. And one for your friend too. Thank you for being my assistant. Wow! Now you're really grateful he chose you. After that, he went to someone else in the crowd. Pick a card, any card. My uncle does that every time he visits, not the balloons, the stuff with the cards. For a song? Yeah, like to sing in karaoke or to put in the background? Karaoke? Ooh, what's your suggestion? I'm always down for suggestions. Oh, you want me to suggest a song? I see. I understand. Ooh. Let's see. Let's see. Anything? And Okay, let's see. I have a vibe that I've been wanting to listen to lately. Let's see. That's impressive. I always hesitate singing Japanese songs because I don't know any Japanese. So it's just rough. I know some people practice really hard though and do like sing it really well. Let's see. I have a song in mind. I forgot what it's called. Let's see. That's so cool that you practice though. I always say I'm going to and then I never do. Okay, Fallout Boy. Baby Shark. Did someone suggest that one for you? Oh boy. Fallout Boy. Let's see, which song? Thanks for the Memories. Thanks for the Memories by Fallout Boy. They suggested the song. That is very mean. That was very mean of them. Oh boy. Yeah. Will you do that one? Oh yeah, absolutely. Yep. Sorry. Making all kinds of noises with my soda and my munching. Yay! Yay! Much excites. Can't wait to hear that. Can't wait. It'll be good. Let's see. Cove says, my uncle decided like not to play with the stuff with the cards. That's funny. Cove spoke plainly while reaching over to take the dolphin that had been designated for him. At least you had a fun time. Some magic trip and you got a great balloon. Now it's more than enough to make it a worthwhile event. He thought that if you could find a card to practice with, maybe you could make it disappear too. The crowd started to clear some, and you noticed to the side there was a whole rack of brightly colored kaleidoscopes in display. Oh, he's okay. He's just tired today from being at the vet all day. He's okay. It's complicated because he's got so they don't know, they definitely know he has hyperthyroid and his blood pressure was high. So it's possible the hyperthyroid was causing the high blood pressure, and then it's possible the high blood pressure is causing the thing with his cloudy eye. But they don't know those last two bits for sure. So we're trying out some medicines to to help his hyperthyroid and to help with his high blood pressure and to help with the inflammation on his eyes. So I have to give him 3 medicines a day, multiple times a day. And then gonna wait 2 weeks to see if that improves any. It seems like his blood pressure was a little lower already today, so that's good. But for the hyperthyroid, definitely gonna have to do it's a radioactive iodine therapy. So they inject him with radioactive iodine to basically, I guess, kill the extra hyperthyroid stuff. I don't know. And then he has to stay at the vet for like 3 days so that he's not radioactive when he comes home, or less radioactive. And then even when he's here, he's gotta stay kind of secluded for like 2 weeks, where I can't have him, like, he can't sleep with me, he can't like stay on top of me for a long period of time, things like that. So that's sad. But that'll be like a one-time thing as opposed to having to give him medicine every single day for the rest of his life. So yeah. And then hopefully that fixes the high blood pressure, which then hopefully means his eye won't be messed up, if those things are connected. Yeah, New Kid said something similar. He's like, will you be a cat dino if you get bit? I'm like, maybe. Maybe I want to be Catwoman Saudi. That would be fun. But yeah, no, he has to stay kind of isolated for a while. Radioactive. Radioactive! Only have to keep his poop for a while. I gotta keep his poop for a while before throwing it in the trash, because that's radioactive. So it's a whole thing. But gotta take him back for a checkup in a few weeks. In a couple weeks, and then another one a couple weeks from there. And then, if all that's looking good, then he can move forward with the radioactive iodine therapy. It's a lot. It's a good thing I have insurance for the kitty cat. It helps cover a good chunk of it. So, yeah, he's just feeling kind of like crummy, I think. Yeah, I'll keep you posted. I think he's just feeling kind of crummy from having to go to the doctor and having them poke around and do stuff, so. But he's doing okay overall, you know? It's just part of pet owning. Oh man. Let's see. Ooh, a kaleidoscope. Shift your balloon string to your other hand so you can bring the mysterious tunnel to your eye. A whole palette of colors appeared in front of you, spinning into all kinds of different shapes as you twisted the end of the tube. Cove picked one up and looked through, twisting the tube at the end. After a second, he set it back on the rock, moving to the other side of the stall. He went under the awning, careful of his own floating dolphin, and you joined him. Did you have places like this in your old town? Cove blinked at you for a moment, and you wondered if you shouldn't have asked. You knew how much he missed that place. Not really. You nodded, understanding, looking over at the stalls nearby. Oh my god, how cute! While Cove looked at the sand pails, you were drawn to a table with colorful keychains laid out on it. They were sewn in the shape of sea creatures, and there was a plaque that read, "Handmade," standing proudly in front of it. There were lots of different types. You saw a dolphin, a shark, a crab, and a turtle. Pick up the dolphin. Your hand stopped on the dolphin, so similar to your balloon animal. It was made of a bright material that caught the sunlight when you picked it up. You remembered once seeing a pod of dolphins swimming out in the distance at the beach, jumping out of the water and splashing as they dived back in again. That was a great day. You were instantly enamored. Checking the price though, your heart fell. $6. You didn't know much about money, but you thought that was a lot to spend on one thing. You rarely had more than a $5 bill to your name. Though that changed the day you met Cove and his dad, you still had the $20 bill Mr. Holden gave you, hidden away in your room. It's a grand sum of money, but you couldn't spend something that was at home instead of in your pocket. Maybe you'd have to ask your moms to bring you here again one day, now that you knew what you wanted. Is that what you want? Oh, he's so sweet! Huh? Oh, it's $6. I didn't bring any money. It's fine. You don't have to. Cove didn't mind that. He took the keychain from your hands and that was that. He was holding a small yellow bucket for himself too. It's cool, you should get it. You smiled, pleased to have things work out. It was nice of Cove's dad to let Cove buy something for you too. You had to remember to thank him next time you saw him. It's so sweet. It's so sweet. After Cove paid, the two of you stepped out of the store side by side, your balloon dolphins knocking together and spiraling around in the air. You watched Cove hold up his new pail to his face, examining it thoroughly. Hey Cove? Yeah? I really like this keychain. Thank you. Cove looked over and you held it up so he could see better. I like it too. Cove looked further down the street where different food carts were lined up. He rested his non-cast arm over his stomach, and just as he did, yours let out a light growl. You hadn't eaten since breakfast, and after all of this wandering around, you were definitely ready for some lunch. Let's get some food. Yeah. You two wandered around a short while looking at all the delicacies that were available. Everything looked delicious, and as the different smells, both sweet and salty, wafted over to you, your stomach growled even louder. After passing up hot dogs, snow cones, ice cream, and pizza, you both agreed on pretzels. Cove got something sweet and cinnamony, and you got one with chocolate. You licked your lips hungrily as the vendor handed your pretzel over, ready to take a big bite. It had tiny marshmallows on it and was dripping with chocolate, just how you liked it. Your moms didn't like you to eat too much sugar, but this is a special occasion. You found an empty table close enough to the beach that the grit of the sand made terrible noises when you dragged the chairs out to sit down. These balloons are gonna make it hard to eat. Cove placed his bucket on the table as he stared at his still balled up hand that was wrapped around the string. You opened your mouth to agree before an idea hit you. I know! After carefully placing your pretzel somewhere it wouldn't get sandy, you tugged the balloon dolphin out of Cove's hand and tied it in a delicate bow around his wrist. Oh, ew. Cove bounced his arm up and down in place, testing the stability of your knot. After watching his balloon jostle around but remain attached, he smiled, satisfied. Can you do it for me? You repeated the ritual. Cove struggled somewhat with the cast, restricting his fingers on one hand and a string already tangled around the other. But the action made you feel strangely happy. You couldn't look him in the eyes.
Okay.
Got it. The two of you spent a moment admiring your handiwork, both hands now free to allow easy munching on your pretzels. They're so cute. You bit into the doughy treat, savoring the taste on your tongue with a smile as you looked out over the ocean. After a time you finished your pretzel, you were done before Cove. It was boring not having anything to do. You pulled on the string of your balloon to bring it down to your level. Then you held the dolphin in your hands, manipulating it to make it look like it was jumping through the air. If you turned your face towards the beach, it almost looked like it was swimming in the waves like a real dolphin. A laugh came from your side. Oh, I made him laugh! When you glanced back at Cove, he had left the remaining part of his pretzel in the wrapper and he was gripping his dolphin too. Mine's name is Sam. They're just a regular dolphin. You sighed, thinking about how great it would be to have a pet dolphin of your own. What's yours? Cove considered this question, placing the balloon against the table and resting his free arm across it in contemplation. It's... The loud pop, the dolphin exploded into ribbons. No! No! Oh no! For a second, all Cove did was gape in shock like you. Then his cheeks puffed up, squinting his eyes, and you saw his tears start to glisten. Oh! That's so sad. Sorry, it... Offered to give Don't cry! You quickly pulled the knot around your wrist loose and passed your balloon over to Cove. It wasn't the same color, but you hoped Cove would accept it anyway. Here, you can have this one! Cove sniffled, a lone tear running down his cheek. No, I don't want to take yours from yours. Then we're sharing. It's your turn to hold it. Really? Yeah, it's okay. Cove accepted the balloon delicately, probably to make sure this one didn't pop like the other. Thanks, Saudi. Seeing him like that felt much better than keeping the dolphin for yourself. The passing of Cove's balloon was the last major event of your adventure. In the end, the two of you headed back late that afternoon. You separated on the beach, and while Cove went straight home with his brand new sand pail in hand, you decided to sit for a while. You watched the waves and the sunset fiddling with your new keychain. Another summer day was drawing to a close. It had been great going around with Cove. You hoped to do it again, but next time you wished nothing would happen to make him cry. So cute. I have so many of these to do. Oh boy. One sweltering summer day, you were in your living room with Cove, listening to the sounds of the birds chattering outside the window while you lay across the rug on the floor. Cove's dad had dropped him off earlier and your moms had left the two of you, along with Lizzie, to play amongst yourselves. It had been too hot to go outside in the afternoon, at least according to Mommy, so your sister was starting to get impatient, waiting for her golf class that evening. The three of you had Had trouble finding something fun to do. The beach and the playground were off limits and you felt that it was too warm for anything like playing with your fuzzy toy animals. Then suddenly a light came through to Lizzie's big brown eyes and her smile spread wide across her face. Having an idea gave her a new wave of energy. Since we're stuck inside, we should be adults. They don't play outdoors anyway. They're always inside and telling everybody they're too busy to play.
Why?
I said why and it'll be fun. Duh. What do they do inside that we don't, besides use the phone a lot? Screaming a small huff, Lizzie decides to ignore Coves. Do you want to? Bet we could come up with something else. But that's what I'm going to do, and it's not as fun when I play pretended adults by myself. Do you do that a lot? What's it to you? Looking at Lizzie, it seemed Cove felt he could understand where she was coming from, and he sighed. Do you really not want to play, Saudi? It was clear he wanted some way out, but still felt guilty about it. Which option do I want to go with here? I'll try it, but it sounds boring. Satisfied that neither of you were about to bail on her, Lizzie thought over her options while you watched. After a few seconds, she clapped her hands together and beamed, apparently having settled on something without asking either of you. I'm gonna be a professional golfer. Saudi, you and Cove can be a beach volleyball player, a gymnast, or a tennis player. Okay. Why can't we pick anything we want? Because I have a fun idea, that's why. We have to play sports as adults? Yep. But there's other kinds of sports too. It isn't the same. What do you think, Saudi? Don't those choices sound super cool? You want to be that, huh? Boy. Stuck between my sister and my crush. Rough life here. Isn't there anything else we can be? Stomped a foot on the ground. Nope, come on, just decide already. I wouldn't let this go anytime soon, you sighed. Cove was not impressed with Lizzie's attitude, though he didn't bother talking more about it for now. He thought over the list of possibilities: beach volleyball, gymnastics, or tennis. Of all of them, you prefer to play... beach volleyball. If you can spend at the beach for real, then you might as well pretend you were there. You could even wear your swimsuit to make it seem more realistic, although Lizzie probably wouldn't let you run off and do that now that she had you here. It was clearly the top option. Okay, I'm gonna be a volleyball player. How about you, Cove? I'll be a volleyball player with Saudi. Lizzie threw her hands, making an annoyed sound. You guys can't be the same thing, that's not how it works. You didn't say that, the rule's picking from the list, you can't keep adding more. Lizzie looked at the two of you, then shook her head, resigned to losing this battle, but not the war. Fine, you're both volleyball players, but you're on the same team because there's only one. Lizzie's ponytail bobbed when she proudly stretched her arms wide. The Olympic team. What? There were Olympic athletes who just competed in the Olympics. Cove didn't seem all that impressed with the announcement. He made a face and adjusted the glasses on his nose. That's really specific. Oh, that's what makes it fun. Anyway, Lizzie marched back and forth in front of the both of you, getting lost in her own imagination. I won all gold medals and people are calling me the next Mickey Wright. Who's that? Lizzie stopped and stared down him, her brown eyes shining with impatience. Doesn't matter if you know who she is. It's a golf thing. You guys won medals too. Your team placed at silver. It's more real if we're not all first place. You sure? Munching. Oh, boy. That's what people lose at the Olympics. Them's the breaks. Then you're the one who did, not me. Lizzie looked taken aback by Cove's declaration as though the thought of her losing was completely absurd. No way, it wouldn't make sense. I'm already practicing my golf game. She took a golfing stance to make her point, pretending to swing her club and hit an invisible ball. So what kind of house do you want to live in? Cove hadn't changed his mind about winning, but thinking about where he'd live as an adult appealed to him, apparently, because he looked back at Lizzie with some of the anger fading. I'm going to live on the beach. Aw. Lizzie made a face at him, poking out her tongue. That's kind of boring. We already have that. No, not like the normal houses here with a street. On it, right on the sand, by the water. Just like that, all the tension was back. We hadn't even had a chance to choose where you would want to live. That's not very fun or smart, Cove. You can't live on a bunch of sand and shells. But I want to, and I will. Cove narrowed his eyes at Lizzie, even though she stood half a head taller than him. You didn't give out a list of things to pick from this time, so I'm picking that. Why are we even playing pretend if we can't imagine anything? Geez, well, I'm gonna live in a mansion far away from here and far away from you. One with an indoor pool and a place to practice my award-winning golfing. How come you were yelling about mine when your idea is even more impossible? Lizzie's face flushed red, her hands balling into fists at her sides. It's not impossible, and it's better than yours. Disagreements always seemed to crop up when the two of them were together, and you always felt like you were stuck in the middle. But when it came to the topic at hand this time, you thought... Being on the beach was cool. Who wouldn't want to live on the beach? It'd be really great. You could have windows made from driftwood and seashell wind chimes. Ugh. Somehow you agreeing with him made Cove look nervous. He tried to ignore it by continuing his debate with Lizzie. You can swim whenever you want if you live on the beach. We can still swim anytime we want from where we live now. Being a little closer doesn't mean anything. Says you. The two of them scowled at each other. Adorable. You're being so unreasonable. I don't get what you want. This game doesn't make sense. It does. You have to be realistic. I said that. But you're not. You have no idea what to make them stop at this point. It seemed like the two of them would just keep working each other up as long as they could. Nothing you said so far had kept them from being mad. Thankfully, like a greeting card, Angel Mom walked into the room. Lizzie rushed at her, hanging onto the hem of her skirt and poking out her tongue at Cove. Lizzie, Saudi, it's time to get ready to go. Sorry you had to leave already, Cove. Their mommy said she'll walk you home so you won't be left in the cold. Cove was still glaring at Lizzie, his face flushed red with anger. I can go by myself, but... Bye, Saudi. It was still harsh as to a brief farewell, but you knew it wasn't you he was mad at. Without giving Mom a chance to stop him, Cove stood up and stalked out of the room, shoulders drawn tight. Okay. Worried, Mom turned to look down at you and Lizzie. You two were playing nice with a new friend, weren't you? Told the truth. We were playing pretend and things got intense. They were like cats and dogs. Your sister's jaw dropped, looking betrayed as Mom put both hands on her hips. Elizabeth! I told you to be kind to him. He's having a hard time right now. Lizzie's mouth closed back up, replaced by a tiny frown. I know I tried, but he was... No buts. We both know you can show someone a great time when you put your mind to it. We're going to apologize to Coven's dad over the phone when he gets home from work tonight. Lizzie hung her head, dragging a foot across the ground in front of her. Okay, Mom. Good girl. You caught pieces of Lizzie sulking to herself about how it was his fault too, but it was over. Ah, right, we better get a move on. Let's go, kid. Noelani, where did you leave the car keys? Mom hustled you all out of the door, and you noticed during the car ride to golf practice that Lizzie was quieter than usual. She was usually the first one to request which music to listen to in the car, but she didn't say a thing. Your parents noticed she wasn't in a mood to be bothered. They gave her space, and Mommy just asked what you'd like to listen to. You chose a song you knew Lizzie liked. Maybe that would cheer her up. You were happy to see it brighten her up right away, and she started singing along with you. Soon enough, her bad mood was a thing of the past. They're so precious. When the car ride was over, you spent the twilight hour watching Lizzie hit things with other girls her age. You didn't know much about golf, but you could tell that she really liked it, so you sat with your moms and tried to puzzle it out. It was nice sitting outside after being cooped up in the house all day, and you stretched out your legs to let the last few minutes of the sun warm your skin. When the sun was finally out of sight, dipping behind their horizon, you all got ready to leave. Instead of going straight home, your moms took the family out to dinner. You went to a restaurant you had all been going to ever since you could remember. The whole afternoon had been a bunch of shouting you hadn't been able to stop, but you could kind of tell that all this helped Lizzie be less angry. The car ride home was quiet, but with only the radio providing escape from silence. Lizzie had been in better spirits now, but the closer you got to your neighborhood, the more she wiggled in her seat and frowned out the window. She knew what was coming when you all got back home. Clearly she was dreading it. Soon enough, Mom was turning onto your street, then reversing into the driveway. Once she cut the ignition, it was dead silent. No one spoke, only unbuckled their seatbelts and opened the doors. Lizzie was the last one out. Once everyone was inside and done taking off their shoes, she propped her hands on her hips. Now then, Mr. Holden's car is in his driveway, so he should be back from work. That's good news, isn't it, Elizabeth? You and Cove can hash things out before the day's done. Lizzie didn't complain or put up a fight. Her head dug so she didn't have to meet anyone's eyes. She nodded once. Good, let's move this to the kitchen. Mom went over to the house phone, the rest of you following behind her. Mommy put a gentle hand on Lizzie's shoulder as they walked side by side. You watched them from the back. This was only happening because you told on Lizzie. You felt a little like you had betrayed your sister. You still remember the look on Lizzie's face. There was no doubt she felt that way about it. You and your sister didn't always get along, but you cared about each other. This wouldn't change that, you thought. The four of you stood around the kitchen in a lopsided square. All eyes were on Lizzie, who kept her gaze on her feet. Remember the number for Cove's house, don't you, honey? Lizzie jerked her head in another nod, sullen. Without further prompting, she stepped forward and she began to dial. Mom reached over and pressed a button on the base. Suddenly you could hear the phone ringing. She turned on the speaker. The phone rang a couple times and stopped. Mr. Holden's warm voice came through the other end. Evening, Holden residence. Lizzie looked over at Mommy unsure. She nodded encouragingly. Hi, Mr. Holden. It's, Lizzie. Can I talk to Cove?
Absolutely.
Lizzie, Dinah, what a surprise, but of course you can. You can say hi to the boy. He sounded cheery as usual, though definitely meant it when he said it was a surprise. You thought hard and you were sure that your sister had never called to Cove's house before. Mom spoke up before Mr. Holden and Lizzie could say anything more. Her arms were crossed over her chest, her lips pursed. Hi, Cliff. Noelani, Saudi, and I are here too. Good evening. We're sorry to bother you so late. Hi, Mr. Holden. The gangs are here, huh? Is something the matter? His voice grew a bit concerned. Mommy was quick to reassure him. No, well, yes, but it's going to be okay. Lizzie and Cove got into a bit of a fight today. We were hoping that the two of them could talk and make up. Is this a good time for you and Cove? A fight? Cove didn't tell me anything about that when I came home. It does explain the funk he's been in tonight. He chuckled lightly. Despite that, it didn't seem like he really thought it was funny. Anyways, it's good you didn't catch us at a bad time. I'll go grab him for you. There was some shuffling on the other end. He must not have gone far because you could still hear him calling out. Cove, there's someone on the phone for you. After a beat of silence, there was more muffled talking from Cove's dad. Come on, bud. Lizzie called just so she could talk to you. Saudi's in the end and listening too. Don't you want to say hi? It took a bit of back and forth, though the conversation seemed one-sided since you couldn't hear Cove properly. Eventually, Cove took the phone from his dad.
Hi.
Hello. Hey, it's Lizzie. Yeah, I know. Dad told me. Oh, this is the Fall Out Boy. It's an older song. It's from my generation. My old boomer generation. Cove's tone was defensive. Lizzie turned to Mom, scowling. One stern look from her, though, and Lizzie turned away. I just called to say I'm sorry for not playing nice with you today. I won't do it again. Lizzie's eyes were downcast, her voice low. You could tell she felt uncomfortable apologizing to Cove in front of everyone. She was still being genuine about feeling bad. Cove must have realized that too, because he sighed quietly. I want gold, and I think Saudi should win too. Cute. Really? He thought you were worth gold even though you hadn't even wanted it? Lizzie was momentarily stunned silent by the demand. She probably forgot that had even happened already. Alright, we all win the gold. Okay, I guess I'm sorry too. A sense of relief washed over everyone at his acceptance of the apology. Mom uncrossed her arms while Mommy's shoulders relaxed. Lizzie's eyebrows raised up. You wondered if she thought that he refused her apology. Dad, can I get off the phone now? You couldn't see him, but it was obvious that Cove felt awkward about the situation. He had come off uncomfortable the entire time, really. Yeah, you can go back to your room if you want. Be sure to say goodbye first, though. Bye, Lizzie. Bye. Bye, Saudi. You perked up at the mention of your name. You smiled even if you couldn't see it. Bye, Cove. With that said, Cove must have handed the phone to his dad and left since Mr. Holden spoke up.
That's a relief.
All's well that ends well, as they say. Thanks for arranging this. I'm sure he appreciates it. As Mom replied, Lizzie tugged on Mommy's hand to catch her attention. Can I go now too? Sure, sweetie. Thank you very much for apologizing to Cove. Mom flashed a brief smile at Lizzie and nodded her agreement. Given permission to Lizzie scurried off towards the stairs. She seemed to be feeling much better with the incident behind her. Mom and Mommy returned to the phone, taking it off the speaker. Then you continued talking to Mr. Holden. You couldn't tell what about. You were glad that was the end of it all. Lizzie and Cove might not get along and probably still won't, but they weren't mad at each other anymore. Mom and Mommy weren't upset either. Everything was finally back to normal. With that thought, you retreated to your own room with a spring in your step. Boy, there's so much. Let's see. Probably just, I thought I was gonna try to go for a while today, but so much talking, I'm probably gonna just finish this step 1, these 3 moments here, and then head out. So yeah, but okay, let's see. It was another scorching summer day, the kind where no sooner had you finished 1 cup of water, you were already filling it up again. Everyone else had something on, so that afternoon it was just you and Shiloh. This didn't happen much, especially since Cove had arrived. Without Lizzie around, Shiloh looked to you for all the answers. It made you feel nothing, really. Shiloh went along with whatever you wanted, so he wasn't a bother, but he also wasn't that much fun. You drained yet another drink and frowned at the empty vessel. Your thirst was gone, but you still craved something icy, cold, and refreshing. Something sweet. Something like... an ice cream sandwich. You craved soft ice cream sandwich between 2 cookies. There's nothing like that to be found at home. You knew that without needing to look. Your mom didn't keep sweets in the house. Outside, there were plenty of places where such goodies could be obtained, but they were shops and demanded payment in exchange for their products. You sighed. As much as you really wanted that treat, it wasn't going to happen. What's wrong? I want an ice cream sandwich. Shiloh, who had been draped over the sofa, perked up. That sounds good. We don't have any here, and I don't have any money. Oh, let me check if I have any. Shiloh rummaged his back and probably produced an assortment of coins plus 1 stray button. You set the button aside and counted the coins in neat piles. Just over $1, you announced this to Shiloh. He had almost certainly come to the same conclusion, but he'd been watching you expectantly. Isn't that enough? I'm sorry. We'll need to find some more. Okay. The 2 of you lifted couch cushions, stuck tiny hands down deep crevices in the sofa and under furniture, and scoured the back of drawers. Most of what you found was useless: a girl's bent paper clips, fluffy wisps of dust, or sandy crumbs. But every so often, one of you would strike silver or bronze and add it to the growing pile of coins. Your mind wandered to the $20 bill tucked away in your room. It was enough for you and Shiloh to get whatever you wanted and more, but you didn't take it out. That was too special to hand over so freely. Besides, Shiloh would be curious about where it came from and might even mention your wealth to Lizzie. The exchange had been a secret. Dustied and disheveled from checking every room and squinting into every tiny nook, the 2 of you finished pulling your Fines? Fines? Either way. Shiloh held his breath as you counted the coins once again. $2.53 and 2 buttons. You didn't know when the second button had decided to join the party, but you were too pleased with your successful haul to throw it out. Is that enough? Figured he knew the answer without looking to you for confirmation, but the thrill of your success and the reward that would follow canceled out any other feelings you might have had about that. Yeah! You could now afford something at the shops, just one thing, but that was infinitely better than none. Shiloh clapped his hands. Yay! The 2 of you dashed outside. The promise of sugar buoyed you onto your destination, where breathless but happy you stared at the overwhelming number of options. You knew what you wanted, but it wasn't just you who had contributed to the funds to get the treat. You seemed to notice your pause. Aren't you getting an ice cream sandwich? Shiloh asked as though he was entirely separate from the decision rather than someone with a stake in the outcome. Do you mind? Shiloh cocked his head to the side. It was your idea. You should choose. You were thrilled that Shiloh wasn't going to be an obstacle between you and your original choice. Without wasting another second, you exchanged cold hard cash for equally cold but maybe less hard dessert. Finally, the reward for all your hard work was in your hands. You bit the ice cream sandwich, the chewy chocolate biscuit complemented the creamy vanilla ice cream inside. You held it out to Shiloh so he could take a turn. He shook his head. Aw, that's sweet. You didn't want any? After everything he did to help get it? That was weird. He tried to include... Shiloh said it was every story you'd ever seen on TV or read in a book, said that sharing was caring. You stood your ground even as the treat started to trickle down dangerously towards your finger. It's only fair that you have some. We both bought it. But you wanted more than I do, and getting to play was a lot of fun already, so you can have it. That's more fair. You held it up. I want you to have some even more than I want to finish, so eat your part. Shiloh took the treat and gave it a taste. His eyes lit up. It's really good, thank you. He's so sweet. You smiled, pleased with your good deed. You picked the best one. Did he mean that? Shiloh was always so nice no matter what happened. Even if he hated it, you knew he wouldn't say so. Maybe he thought it was gross and that's the real reason why he didn't want to take some. You had no idea. You studied him as he ate a little more. He had every appearance of enjoying himself. Still weird. The 2 of you began to head back home as he ate. You walked side by side on the shore in silence, but your thoughts kept drifting to the boy beside you. Why didn't he speak up for himself? It was almost as if Shiloh didn't know how to say what he felt or was too afraid to. You scared of me? It opened his eyes wide, seemingly caught off guard by the blunt question. No way! But you don't tell me things like what you want to do or what treat we should get. That's not because I'm scared, it's because you have better ideas than I do. Fortunately, there's still another thing you couldn't entirely believe Shiloh on. You hoped it was true and that he really did feel okay around you, though. Shiloh made you unsure about setting a label on the experience of spending the afternoon with him. There had been good times and there had been confusing ones. You were positive of one thing at least, the treat was delicious and that was nice. Sun was low on the horizon as you returned to your neighborhood. There you spotted two very familiar figures up ahead, Lizzie and Cove. You opened your mouth to make your presence known to them just as you saw the tears on Cove's face. Oh no! You walked straight over, Shiloh at your heels. Once there, you carefully asked about what happened, without a time machine knowing what you were going to find out was by asking the witnesses. Lizzie might have done something, but she could have been in the wrong place at the wrong time. Having come to Cove's aid, you wanted to hear the story. Cove, what happened? Saudi, I got yelled at. He took a deep, staggering breath. Poor baby. Some grandparents got mad at me. Oh, sorry. Lizzie jerked your head in the direction of a nearby house. Your heart sunk in exactly what had happened. Every year, the same mean old couple rented out that condo for the summer. You, Lizzie, and Shiloh knew to stay away from them, but Cove couldn't have. They're like that with everyone. Even your mom struggled to find anything nice to say about them, but the elderly pair particularly took offense to kids. Didn't matter if they were really nice like Cove. Yeah, Lizzie said. Lizzie drew herself up at that. She looked pointedly in your direction. I was helping. That's cool. Is there anything else? Is there anything I can do? No, I'm just gonna stay away. Or you could teach them a lesson. That was a devilish grin in her eyes. Oh boy. What? You should ding-dong ditch them. Go ring the doorbell and run. It'll be great because they're so slow they'll never catch you. That's dumb. I don't want to go near them ever again.
Just saying that because you're a chicken.
Lizzie. Cove glared but didn't take the bait. Lizzie turned to you. You're not a chicken, are you? Oh boy. Oh boy. Rather just avoid them or I'll do it. Rather just avoid them. You looked at the house. Behind those closed doors lurked two beings, rich in years but poor in patience. Maybe they deserved retaliation, maybe they didn't, but that punishment wouldn't be coming from you. Safer to stay away from them, and you didn't want to give them the opportunity to make Cove sad again. Not doing it either. And the chicken for the coop. This is a hen house now. Oh, Lizzie. We're chickens. You're a lizard, Lizzie. She whacked her tongue at his face. Still better than a bird brain. Chicken. Called the door open, revealing one of the two culprits. The old man's wizened face was set in a scowl, which was to say he looked exactly like he always did when you saw him. Maybe that was his normal face. What are you kids doing loitering outside my house? Maybe he was always just in a terrible mood. Nothing. Nothing. Feared the word as if it was the greatest crime anyone could commit. Nothing good, more like get lost. It wasn't if he owned the space outside the house, but Cove's eyes, still red from his earlier tears, were wide, and you thought it would be best to heed the old man's command. Lizzie took off with Shiloh immediately, trailing after her without so much as a glance back in your direction. So much for your friendship. You waved your arm at Cove, summoning him to follow you, and ran after Lizzie. The old man's hollers propelled you all from the street to the sanctity of the hill. Only once you were safe did you notice a stitch in your chest and the ache of your legs. You flopped down, the blades of grass tickling your face. Lizzie, who had taken the lead in the end, was already lazing on the ground. The four of you took a moment to catch your breath and enjoy the feeling of cool grass against your skin.
Cove.
Hey, Cove. Cove lifted his head. I told you there were mean grandparents around here. Cove rolled his eyes and decided this wasn't dismissive enough and rolled his whole body away from your sister. Lizzie chose to ignore his response and started chatting to Shiloh, who eagerly joined in the conversation. In the back of your mind, you knew you'd be second fiddle again to Shiloh once Lizzie came around. It always went like that. It was fine, you thought. And I could prefer Lizzie as much as you wanted to. There were other things to attend to anyway. You wriggled closer to Cove. He had calmed down for the most part and was expecting a flower. His fingers pinched the stem and tilted the white petals towards him. That's a poppy. Cove glanced at you in acknowledgement, then back to the flower. And then, the type of poppies on those cells have the name White Linen Poppy, Mom told me. He quirked a smile. That's funny. He ran a finger around the edge of the petals. Doesn't feel like cloth. You need a lot of them to make anything. He nodded and released a delicate plant. Evaluation complete. This is my favorite kind of flower, but I didn't know what it was called. Thanks. Well, lots of options. So many options. Oh boy. Sunflowers. They're actually my favorite flower. I love sunflowers. Yeah, those are nice too. They're bright and awesome. You match with them. Aw, I'm awesome? Yeah. You stopped the conversation there, suddenly shy. You moved onto your back with a small smile and looked at the darkening sky. The blanket of clouds reminded you of a thick throw you curled under on cold rainy days. You wondered if the clouds would be as soft. They lazily floated on by splitting from each other, merging and morphing into new shapes. Dolphin! Immediately you nudged Cove and pointed to it. Look, a dolphin! Cove joined you in gazing skywards. Yeah, I see it. Really? No, but I like dolphins. Hey! You chuckled at your reaction. All the sunlight faded from the sky and the moon rose higher. Lizzie got to her feet, dusting strands of grass from her bare legs and surveyed her surroundings. The ocean, visible from the crest of the hill, beckoned with every sweep of the tide. Let's go to the beach. There was no argument from the other two. Shiloh was still Shiloh, and Cove would never say no to going to the shore. He was a child of the sea. You wanted to go there too, so you joined the others in descending the hill down to the water. You stepped onto the sand for the second time that day, but it felt different at night. The beach was nearly quiet at this hour. Abandoned sand castles and footsteps in the sand, too big to belong to any of you, were the only indication of how busy it had been hours earlier. Before you kicked shoes off, removed socks, and walked along the water's edge, the waves tickled your feet. I wonder what would happen if you tried to take a bath in the ocean with shampoo and everything. That would be bad for the fish. I didn't say anyone would do it. Geez, you don't have to be serious about everything. You're the one who asked what would happen. That is what would happen. It'd hurt the fishes. I like bubble baths at home. They're a lot of fun. Me too. Bubble baths are luxurious. You never heard Lizzie use that word before. Mommy loves to have bubbles in her bath. She'll turn the lights off and have candles. I'm gonna do that next time. Hey, when's your mom coming to pick you up anyway? Not for a while. She's busy. What about your dad? How come you never talk about him? Nobody does. Don't you know you're not supposed to ask something like that? Why would somebody want to talk about something they never talk about? Kept your eyes on the ground, watching your toes get swallowed by waves. Even if Shiloh never seemed upset when this topic came up, it made you feel awkward just for having both of your moms. It's okay. I'm like Lizzie and Sadie. I don't have a dad. But I don't have two moms. I just have one. She's really great. Oh, sorry. I only have one now, too. My mom isn't here. She's back home. It's just my dad with me. Oh, I never had a dad or anything, so I don't feel bad. It's really sad that your mom is gone. Cove nodded. Even if they're all different. They're all good in different ways. Cove couldn't muster a response. You don't think you truly disagreed, though. The silence broke with a splash as Lizzie kicked in your direction. Cold water and sodden sand splattered against your legs. Lizzie giggled, foot still outstretched from the kick. Cove joined in, striking the incoming waves to make a splash of his own. Shiloh scurried out of Cove's spray zone with a grin. You retaliated! You used your foot to smack the water pulling around you, sending an arc of sea foam flying back onto your sister. She laughed as she spluttered, some of the salty seawater having landed in her mouth. She spat it out. Yak! Lizzie chased you, intent on revenge. You dashed up and down the coast, taking it in turns to be the predator and the prey, as well as joining forces to take down Shiloh or Cove. Alliances were silently forged and wordlessly broken. Everything was fair game and war. Ah! Shiloh's brief exclamation was drowned out by the biggest splash yet, caused by him falling face first onto the ground. That would have been enough without the wave that followed, cascading over his prone body. Shiloh sat up, shaking his head like a dog coming in from the rain as you all hurried over to check on him. His hair was plastered to his head and his so clothes clung. If there was any part of him that was still dry, you couldn't see it. That was crazy. Are you okay? Yeah, my foot got stuck and I fell over. Way to go, Shiloh, you dumbo. Take your edge. After a moment, you dropped it. Lizzie was too busy snickering to notice and held her hand out to Shiloh too. He reached over and took it, slowly starting to pull himself from the ground. And he slipped on the slick sand, dragging him and Lizzie down just in time for another wave to hit. The water rolled over them. Pfft. Sorry. What were the odds of that happening twice in a row? You thought they must be low. But there's no way Shiloh would do something like that on purpose and pretend it was an accident, especially not to Lizzie. Even if your relationship with Shiloh felt unclear, he did at least like her a lot. Lizzie was his favorite, right? Smiling boldly, Lizzie extracted herself from the ground and wiped a streak of sand from her cheek. She didn't intend to let this embarrass her. Shiloh got up again as well, this time without incident. He still looked like a drowned puppy, but that didn't stop Cove laughing at the two of them. With that, it was time to call it a day. The four of you made the journey back home, leaving a trail of wet footsteps and sand in your wake. Damp clothes may have weighed down some of the group, but your spirits were high. Your arms swung side to side as a cool breeze flowed past. Your moms were outside, chatting to Cove's dad. "We're back!" Your mom's faces fell as they took the state on you were all in, ranging from messy to soaked. "Elizabeth, is that all you have to say for yourself? You brought half of the beach back with you." They certainly did. What's Marigold going to do when she comes to get Shiloh? Is that how you want him to be for the long drive home, cold and filthy? Lizzie's expression turned sulky over the scolding. Being the oldest could be fun, but it also meant she was the first to get in trouble when something went wrong. Mr. Holden, on the other hand, chuckled as he ruffled Cove's matted hair. "You've been out making memories, Buck. I'm glad you had a good time with your friends." Cove used a slightly moist cast arm to push his dad off. Mr. Holden's eyes widened when he noticed even that had gotten wet. Now he was worried too. "I think they could have found a less risky way to spend time and just had as much fun." "That might be right, kids. What can you do? Come on, Cove. Let's go get you cleaned up and dried off. We wanted that class to have to be reset." Cove winced at the thought. Okay. That a boy. That a boy. Mr. Holden casually bent down and plucked Cove up off the ground, ultimately holding Cove against his chest. Sand was already transferring from Cove onto him, but that didn't seem to bother Mr. Holden. Cove protested being carried, but only got a reassuring pat on the back for his trouble.
Take care.
"Good night, Cove. Thank you for the talk, Cliff." "Night, Dino family, and Shiloh, too." Resigned to his fate, Cove twisted his body in his dad's arm in order to turn around and wave goodbye. Smiling, you waved back. "Good night." "Better do what we can to fix you guys up. Come on, everybody inside. I want you to march straight to the downstairs bathroom." "Yes, Mom." "Okay, Lizzie's mom. Don't worry about stopping to wipe your feet on the mat this time. That won't do much good tonight." Sitting on an old beach towel your mommy had found, you waited in the hall. Until you were less sandy, you weren't allowed to go to your room or walk around the house. But you did get to eat a sandwich for dinner there. It felt like an indoor picnic. It had been decided that Shiloh would wash first and borrow some of your clothes. He was already finished and packed away in his mom's car. Miss Fields had come to collect him a little while ago. It was a bit of a funny experience seeing him without that hat on for once. Lizzie, being much more soaked than you, got to go in the tub next. It wasn't a bubble bath as she had hoped. This was a no fun allowed clean-up session, at least that's what she claimed. Not much longer and it would be your turn. When the bath was done, you'd have to go right to bed. After a day like this, though, you were glad that there weren't going to be any further events. Drifting off to sleep sounded like a great idea. My voice is tired. Save. Stop there for now. My throat hurts, I'm tired. Now we gotta find someone to raid. Oh no, Echo. Let's see. So many people on tonight. League of Legends. Yeah, let's do Google Soda. Alright, thank you guys for hanging out with me. Thanks, Polter. Thanks, Barbaric Kittens and Snookin. Thanks, anybody else. I appreciate it. I'll be back probably tomorrow. Okay, let's go raid. Nighty night. Nighty night. Raid.